What's going on, guys? So today I want to go over the financial report for NCSoft. This is for quarter 1 of 2021. It's really good information. It lets you kind of know how Blade Soul is doing profit-wise and all their other games that they have listed here. So let's talk about it. So first right here, we have all the way back to first quarter of 2020. You can see going all the way to 2021 of this first quarter. So you see right here, Blade Soul is actually right here, this coloring. So you have Lineage, Lineage 2, Ion, Blade Soul, and then Guild Wars 2. So back in the first quarter of 2020, Blade Soul actually was doing pretty well, and they were at 19 billion. Now keep in mind this is Korean money, so it's a little bit different than, of course, our currency over here. Looking at 15 billion, and then now we're all the way down to 14 billion for the first quarter of 2021, which is actually pretty terrible. This is very low. This is a record low for Blade Soul. It's never been down this bad. Usually it used to run in the 20 billion range for the past few years, and then in the first quarter of 2021, it dropped to 19 billion profit for Blade Soul. And now we're down all the way to 14 billion. And in my opinion, this is not really a surprise with how bad the game has been managed. When you look at how badly NCSoft has mismanaged Blade Soul over in the West, I mean, I can make a whole 20-minute video just talking about that. It's very apparent that the player base has been dropping rapidly. Now, that's why Unreal Engine 4 is kind of looked at as the last hope of Blade Soul, because if that doesn't do well, then the game's just going to keep dropping. You would think that NCSoft would see the margins dropping and think, wow, maybe we should change how we run the game. But in reality, it's just going to make them want to milk the player base harder, because it's kind of like a last-ditch effort. Like, just make them spend as much money as possible and then close up shop, basically. Because if you look over here, you'll see that their mobile games are still king. Their mobile games are making more than all their PC titles combined. This has been the story for the past couple years. They have got a decline in mobile game profits. You'll see right here they're at 324 billion, where all the way back in 2021, the first quarter, they're at 553 billion. So they are down a decent margin. But overall, they still are way, way, way above, over 200 billion above their PC titles. So it's not even close to how much they make off mobile. This is why they continuously put out mobile titles, because they just make so much more money and they're easier to create than an MMORPG for PC. It's just how it is. Those take years of development. Why not just slap out a mobile game that can make you a ton of money? It just makes more sense for a business. But unfortunately, that's going to be the case. Now, with it going down, I will say for probably the final quarter of 2021, for the fourth quarter, I do believe that Blade Soul will have a pretty big surge because of the Unreal Engine 4 release coming in the third quarter, and then all that profit will bounce over to the fourth quarter of 2021. So Blade Soul will probably be having a huge jump. It'll probably go up to maybe even 20 billion, or at least up to like 19 billion. It really just shows you how badly they've been managing Blade Soul over the years. It really is proof in the pudding. I mean, you can't really deny here how bad the player base has been dropping. So that's really what it's looking like. Blade Soul is on a steady decline. Not really surprising if you've been paying attention to the game. And not just over in the West, over in Korea too, it's not doing too well. The Korean players are very upset with how bad the optimization is. And that's really why they've been pushing to put out Unreal Engine 4. If the Korean players didn't care about the optimization, trust me, NCSoft would have never put out Unreal Engine 4 because they really only cater to the Korean audience. A lot of the changes are for Korea, and then they get put into our region and we're like, we don't want these. That's just the sad fact of a Korean MMORPG. There's little changes for us, really. Most of the content they get from Korea just comes to us, just copy and paste it, honestly. Even though they do deny it, it really is true. So the Korean players are upset with the horrible optimization, and so they're finally going to be doing Unreal Engine 4, but with that, we're going to see really low margins, really low profit for Blade Soul for quite a while until Unreal Engine 4 comes out, I believe in the third quarter of 2021. Which I believe would be probably around August, September, early September range. Now, you also might be wondering how the heck Ion had such a jump from 8 billion to 18 billion all the way to 23 billion. Literally one of their biggest profiting MMORPGs, when Ion is over a decade old. It is completely old as a dinosaur, and the game is really outdated. How did this game get this much profit? And the reason why is because they actually put out Ion Classic. So if you're familiar, basically they made a classic version of Ion, so they don't have any of the big updates. They have just all the content from the very beginning of the release. If you ask anyone who played Ion back in 2009 when it came over to the West, everyone will tell you it was a fantastic MMORPG. It had amazing flight combat, amazing PvP, huge battles. It was actually a lot of fun. And then over time, they increased the pay to win and RNG and just a bunch of crap. It just eventually died. And just by looking at the profit here, you can see how much people really enjoyed the beginning of Ion without all the RNG mess and all the garbage attached to it over the years that they added to the game. Just the fun flight mechanics and just overall just having a good time with the classes. So I really liked that they're doing this. I honestly, if they had this much success with Ion Classic, I really wouldn't be surprised eventually if they do a Blade and Soul Classic, because people really enjoyed the level 45 days, Bahirian, Nightshade Harbor, all the good content back then. So I wouldn't be surprised they eventually do that, because they're seeing this profit. All they have to do is just put out the old version of the game. It's the easiest thing in the world, and they're making all this profit. They're just like, oh my gosh, this is genius. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we have a Blade and Soul Classic, guys, in my opinion. Of course, again, this is an Ion Classic over in Korea right now only, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to the West if the demand is high enough for the Western region. But anyways, that's the little update there. If you're wondering why Ion has such a huge jump, Ion Classic happened. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Just basically to sum up this video, Blade Soul is in a large decline. It has been for the past couple years, and you know, again, not really surprised at all if you played the game. It's just how it is. It is in a decline. And unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be for quite a while until Unreal Engine 4. And we'll see if that actually is successful. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video. Leave a like, sub to the channel. Are you guys surprised? Are you surprised with how much more money they make off mobile? It's actually ridiculous that their PC titles only make 128 billion total compared to 324 billion. Like, it's not even close. So that might be why they don't really manage their PC games that well, because if all of them died off, they still make 324 billion off their freaking mobile games. So it is what it is. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. Appreciate you guys a lot, and I'll see you guys next one real soon.